Chintamani.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Please take Mahacharnamrit from ISKCON temple. Today is the day of Jagannath Snan Yatra.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Ma'am, can you please sign these ethics committee documents?
Yes, Dr. Gunjan.
Mataji, I just got a call from the ICU for end of life care. Our patient, Mr. Shyam Anuragi, may leave his body anytime today. Please pray for him.
Please give him this Mahacharnamrit from the Snan Yatra of Sri Jagannath Ji. Go fast.
Ma'am, who is Shyam Anuragi?
Dr. Gunjan. He is a talented professional singer who received the rare mercy of serving Srila Prabhupada during the construction of the Jew ISKCON temple. He recorded the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and offered all earnings from cassette sales to Srila Prabhupada for the temple construction. Though he later faced financial loss, ill health, requiring dialysis, and by the causeless mercy of Sri Radha Ras Bihari, he shifted to Mira Road. He started dialysis care at Bhaktivedanta Hospital. He got connected with our spiritual care staff and started chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Just see the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. Today, while on his deathbed, Lord has arranged special Charnamrit.
Mataji, this is so amazing. As soon as the Charnamrit went in his body, the ECG lines became flat. He has left his body while hearing the chanting of the holy name.
Krishna is so kind. He never forgets any service performed by his devotee. He always reciprocates with his devotee. Ye yathamam prapadyante. In the scriptures, it is said that Krishna is bhavagrahi. That means Krishna doesn't just see only what we offer, but perceives our intention, the purpose, and the sentiment in which it is offered. Time is precious because with every moment we could be investing in our future of the eternal pastimes with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or we can invest it in the repeated cycle of birth and death. We all have our free will. When a Jiva soul in their unique personal way expresses desire to serve Krishna, Krishna perfectly reciprocates with the deepest desire of their hearts. Krishna, being Rasa Bihari, understands the innermost nature of our consciousness. Lord Krishna's reciprocation with Devaki and Vasudev is a profound testimony to his divine love and gratitude towards his parents.
What a wonderful ceremony! My dear sister Devaki, tell me, have I said something to disturb you? Are you not happy?
My dear brother, your devotion to me knows no bounds. I am truly amazed by your affection towards me.
Aha, my dear Kamsa, I must say, I am truly impressed how masterfully you have arranged the wedding, procession and all its festivities.
Do you not know that Devaki is extremely dear to me? Oh noble Vasudev, please hear from me the arrangements I have made for my sister's marriage gift. There will be 400 elephants, 10,000 horses, 18,000 chariots, and 200 very beautiful young maidservants, fully decorated with ornaments. Furthermore, I have decided that I shall personally control the reins of the chariot and drive y'all in the wedding procession.
O King, does it truly befit an emperor of your stature to perform such a humble service?
I have already decided out of my own sweet will. Now, come, ascend the chariot.
Oh, Kamsa, you are such a fool. You are driving the chariot of your sister and brother-in-law. But you don't know that the eighth child of this very sister will kill you.
Devki!
Arya, please save me!
Kamsa, Kamsa, you're the most renowned monarch of the Bhoja dynasty. People praise you as the greatest and valiant emperor. How is that you are so overcome by fear and anger that you're about to kill a woman, your own sister, at the auspicious time of her marriage? Why should an intelligent and powerful personality such as yourself be afraid of death? From the very day we take our birth, we all begin to die. Do you not care for your high reputation? Please consider the overall situation. If you kill Devaki, it will go completely against you. Besides, the danger is from her sons, not Devaki. So why kill her unnecessarily?
But what about her sons?
Who knows? There may or may not be any children in the future. But I promise, if there are any children born of her, then I shall present them to you for any necessary action.
Vasudev, you have pacified my mind for the time being. But do not think that I will forget this incident in the course of time. To safeguard my interest, I will imprison both of you.
My dear husband, how can you ask me to part with my firstborn child, knowing fully well that Kamsa will kill him?
But my dearest, we both know that I've given my word of honor to him, and I cannot break it under any circumstances, even if it means to part with our beloved child.
No. Do we really have to do this just for the sake of honor? Are you more attached to your honor than your child?
Devaki, it is beyond my control. I am bound by the ill will of Providence. Please give me the child now.
Vasudev, I am surprised to see you. It seems your words are as good as gold.
I have brought the child to you as I promised. You may now act according to your desire.
I am very pleased with you for bringing your son to me. Vasudev, I have considered the situation very carefully. And I have decided that you may keep this child.
Really? I can keep my child?
Yes. I'm not in danger from this child. It is the eighth child of yours that I await, who is destined to kill me. But I shall kill him before the prophecy can be fulfilled.
Your Majesty, prophecy can be deceiving. What if the first child is destined to kill you? Shall we risk your life for semantics? Why gamble with your safety?
Narayan, Narayan.
Shri Narad Muni, welcome. What brings you to my kingdom?
My dear Kamsa, am I right in saying that you have spared the life of the firstborn of Vasudev and Devaki?
Yes, I have imprisoned them. And Vasudev has promised to hand over each child to me. The firstborn is no threat to me.
Narayan, Narayan. I am truly astonished by your compassion. However, I must inform you, I have just returned from the heavenly planets, where the great jubilation surrounds the imminent advent of the Supreme Lord Vishnu. He is prophesied to descend to vanquish you. My dear Kamsa, in your previous life, you were Kalnemi, and it was Lord Vishnu who ended your existence. Now, he will incarnate again once more with the same purpose. Though the prophecy states that the eighth child of Vasudev will be your downfall, Lord Vishnu may choose to disguise himself as any of Vasudev's sons. Oh, Kamsa, take this lotus flower and tell me which petal is the eighth one. Do not underestimate the situation or take any chances. Narayan, Narayan.
Maharaj, perhaps the prophecy was meant to confuse you.
You are right. Now I shall take no more chances. I will kill every child of Vasudeva and Devaki. In this way, I shall destroy Vishnu. Vasudev, you will have to pay the price for this.
Devaki! Devaki! He has spared our child.
I cannot believe our good fortune. My dear Lord, thank you for favoring us.
Yes, I am also struck with wonder by his behavior. But I feel in my heart that he may change his mind at any moment.
Devaki, give me your child.
Kamsa!
Quiet! No one questions my action. Devaki, it is a time to sacrifice your child. Give me the newborn baby.
No, brother, no. What is the crime of this newborn baby?
You are holding my death in your arms. Now, give me that child.
Kamsa! But the prophecy was that the eighth child will kill you, not the first child.
Every fruit of a poisonous tree is poisonous. I will not spare a single child of yours. Devaki, give me that son.
Kamsa!
No, brother, please. He is innocent. So fragile. Brother, please. Take my life but spare his life. Please, brother.
So, you will kill me?
Kamsa! If you kill this child, remember, we will sacrifice all our 7 children and give birth to the 8th son who will be the cause of your death. If you have power, try to stop the birth of the 8th son.
Minister, keep them quiet. I want them watched at every moment. I must be notified whenever a child is born to them. Do you understand that?
While Vasudeva and Devaki were in the prison house of Kamsa, he anxiously awaited the birth of their children. With the coming of each child, he ruthlessly exterminated them. When Devaki became pregnant for the 7th time, Krishna's expansion, Ananta, appeared within her womb. To ensure safety of that child, Yogamaya transferred him to the womb of Rohini under the direction of the Lord. As a result of this, it appeared that Devaki's 7th pregnancy was a miscarriage. Thereafter, the Supreme Lord Vishnu, full in 6 opulences, appeared in the womb of Devaki.
Have you noticed? My sister has never looked so effulgent, so beautiful. I suspect that Vishnu has now appeared within her womb.
Yes. For what other reason would she look so radiant and effulgent?
Lord Vishnu has come to kill me. Certainly he has come to execute the mission of the demigods. What is to be done with Devaki?
Kill Devaki. Kill her at once. Do not hesitate while you have the opportunity. He who hesitates is lost.
Kill her? To kill Devaki now would be the most heinous act and would ruin my reputation completely. Besides, she is a woman, she is under my shelter, and she is pregnant.
Hmm.
Enough. Leave me. I wish to be alone. What is to be done? My mind is so disturbed, I cannot think clearly. Wherever I look, I see only the form of Vishnu with his disc weapon in his hand. But why I should be disturbed by these things? If Vishnu does come, I will simply crush him by the dint of my power.
कृष्ण आएंगे आएंगे कृष्ण आएंगे कृष्ण आएंगे आएंगे कृष्ण आएंगे मेरी मथुरा के भाग आज खुल जाएंगे कृष्ण आएंगे मेरी मथुरा के भाग आज खुल जाएंगे कृष्ण आएंगे.
My dear mother and father, I have appeared to bless you, protect you, and destroy the demons. In the millennium of Swayambhuva Manu, my father Vasudev was Sutapa, one of the Prajapatis, and you were his wife Prishni. Being extremely pleased with your tapasya, I gave you the benediction that I would take birth as your son 3 times. The first time, I was Prishni Garbha, born of Prishni and Sutapa. In the next birth, I was Upendra, born of Aditi and Kashyap. And now for the 3rd time, I am born as Krishna from you.
My dear Lord, you're the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the super soul of all living entities, and the absolute truth. My Lord, you have appeared in your original eternal form just to release us from the fear of Kamsa. He is simply awaiting the news of your birth. As soon as he hears about it, my Lord, he will immediately appear with all kind of weapons to kill you.
My dear Lord, by your unalloyed mercy, you have appeared in my womb. I understand that this transcendental form is generally perceived in meditation only by the great sages. But I am still afraid, because as soon as Kamsa understands that you have appeared, he might harm you. So I request, my dear Lord, please assume the form of an ordinary child. I wish that Kamsa may not learn that you are born.
My dear mother, do not fear. I have appeared in this Vishnu form just to convince you that I am the same Supreme Personality of Godhead who has taken birth again. My dear father and mother, I know you are very concerned about me and afraid of Kamsa. Therefore, I order you to take me immediately to Gokul and exchange me for the daughter who has just been born to Yashoda.
Devaki, I'm taking our son to Gokul.
But how will you go? The prison doors are locked. Battalion of soldiers are guarding outside. It is also raining so heavily. Yamuna must be flooded.
Vasudev had faith in the Lord's instruction, so much that with absolutely no hesitation, he took that newborn baby Krishna in his hands and traveled to Gokul. He did not even ask the Lord, who will unlock the prison cell? Who will make the soldiers sleep? Is there any chariot for me? Vasudev fully surrendered to the instructions of the Lord with complete faith in his words. Because the Lord has instructed, he will make all the arrangements for the execution of his instructions. Vasudev did not negotiate that we have been waiting for your arrival since our marriage without having a single day of peace. Lord, you can kill Kamsa right now and release us from this prison. He did not even ask for the bliss of association with the Lord because he knew Krishna had another plan. Krishna wants to enjoy his childhood in Vrindavan.
At last, the 8th child has been born.
Oh, brother, please do not kill my daughter.
Daughter? eighth child is a daughter, the prophecy was that the eighth son will be the cause of my death. Anyway, give me this girl, Devaki.
No, brother. What is the fear from this girl? I promise this girl will be your future son's wife. You are to be killed by a male child. So please do not kill her. My dear brother, you have killed so many of my children. Please, at least spare this one child.
Foolish Devaki! I can't spare the life of your eighth child, whether a girl or a boy. Give me that girl.
She is innocent. Let her go, please, brother.
Now the prophecy has been proven wrong.
Kamsa, you rascal! How can you kill me? The child who will kill you is already born before me somewhere else within this world. Do not be so cruel to your poor sister. Kamsa ordered Putana to have all newborn children killed. The eighth child of Devaki, Krishna, grew up happily in Gokul. However, during Krishna's childhood, Kansa sent many powerful demons, Trinavarta, Aghasura, Pralambasura, Bakasura, to kill him. But Krishna very easily defeated them all. This caused Kansa to increasingly worry about his own impending doom.
Minister, Krishna killed the mighty demon Keshi.
How is it humanly possible that Krishna, a mere boy, could smash the great demon Keshi? We are not dealing with an ordinary person here.
Am I to understand that your plans have failed again after you have given me so many assurances? You will pay for this with your life, you foolish wretch! Do I have to do everything myself? Come here and listen carefully. I have a plan. I want you to arrange a wrestling match. I will arrange to bring Krishna and Balram here. It is your personal responsibility to see that they are killed in the wrestling arena or even before. Is that quite clear?
Yes, Maharaj.
Good. Then go immediately to make arrangements. Send a crew to Nandagaon to bring Krishna and Balram to Mathura. What? My shadow has holes in it? How is this possible? What are these evil omens? What is this buzzing sound in my ears? What is happening to me? My reflection? My reflection has no head. My only hope is that Krishna will be killed in this wrestling arena.
Krishna is all attractive. He reciprocates with everyone the way they approach him. As Kamsa wanted to destroy Krishna, Krishna was death personified to him. It is our devotion that attracts Krishna. Krishna is Atmaram. He doesn't need anything. He comes to this world to show mercy and reciprocation. Our scriptures are proof to this loving reciprocations between Lord and his devotees. In Treta Yuga, the sages of Dandakaranya forest express their innermost desires of their hearts to Lord Shri Ramachandra.
Shri Ram, Shri Ram, Shri Ram.
Pranam, Prabhu Ram.
Oh Lord Ram, you are the supreme protector. How fortunate we are to behold you with our mortal eyes.
Lord, this forest has become hell because of Rakshasas who disturb our yagyas. Only you can rid us of this affliction.
O noble sages, your devotion and penance have sanctified this land. I promise to protect you and uphold Dharma. Tell me, how may I serve you further?
Raghunandan, it is not merely protection we seek. O Purushottam Lord Ram, our hearts burn with a desire for eternal union with you.
Ram, we have a humble request. We meditate upon you as a supreme Purusha, the divine consort of goddess Sita. Yet, our yearning is to serve you in the most intimate and loving form.
Your desire is born of pure love and devotion. But in this incarnation, I am bound by the dharma of Ekapatni Vrat. I have taken a vow to have only one consort, Sita. However, I promise you this. In a future incarnation as Krishna, I will accept your love in its fullest form.
Such mercy, such grace. Truly, you are the ocean of compassion. This promise assures us of your love and presence even beyond this life.
Until that blessed incarnation of Krishna, may our hearts remain absorbed in your divine name. Shri Ram, Shri Ram, Shri Ram.
O revered sages, your devotion is unparalleled. Your hearts are filled only with love for my brother. Truly, this is the highest form of bhakti.
May you always find strength in your penance and peace in your devotion. Know that I am always with you within your hearts. And in future, you all shall become the gopis of Vrindavan. And I will dance with you, fulfilling your every yearning for divine intimacy.
When we chant the holy names with devotion, Krishna reveals all glories in full. In Garga Samhita, Srila Jiva Goswami explains that all the gopis of Braj, Dhurin Parakiya Bhav, are eternally married to Lord Krishna. In fact, some of the gopis were great sages performing tapasya in Dandakaran forest. And as per the promise of the Lord, they got the bliss of dancing with the Lord personally.
Ka Krishna, how can you leave us? Do you not see the pain in our hearts? You are the life force of Vrindavan. Without you, the Yamuna will cease to flow. The peacocks will forget their dance, and the flute will lose its melody. How will we survive?
You promised us that you belong to us and no one else. Is that promise as fleeting as the clouds in the sky? If you must go, take us with you, for life here is unimaginable without you.
My beloved gopis, you are the very essence of my being. How can I ever forget you? I'm leaving Vrindavan to fulfill my responsibility. But my heart will always remain here in Vrindavan with all of you.
Responsibility? What responsibility is greater than the love we share? The cows call out for you. The trees bend to touch you. And every corner of Vrindavan cries your name. Is that not enough to make you stay? Krishna, your words are sweet, but they cannot heal the wound of our separation. You say your heart remains with us, yet your feet take you away. Tell us, how do we bear this contradiction?
Radha, dear gopis, your love is my greatest treasure. It is not a separation, for I am bound to you in a way that no distance can sever. Even when I will be in Mathura, my soul will dance in Vrindavan with you.
Words, Krishna, mere words. They cannot replace your presence. How will the moonlight feel without your smile? How will we live when the air itself feels heavier without the sound of your flute?
If you must go, promise us one thing, Krishna. Promise that you will return. Promise that one day Vrindavan will once again echo with your laughter, your music, and your divine presence.
I promise, my dearest Radha, my beloved gopis, even if it takes lifetimes, I will return. For you are my heart, my soul, my everything. Until then, close your eyes and I will be there in your minds, playing my flute under the Kadamba tree.
Pure devotional service is very rare. Krishna doesn't give it to everyone. Krishna becomes subordinate to a pure devotee, like gopis of Vrindavan. On Kamsa's order, Akrurji brought Krishna and Balram to Mathura. Let us witness the various pastimes of reciprocation in Mathura.
Oh, friends, finally we have reached Mathura.
Yes, thou. This is the place our parents are imprisoned, our Karma Bhumi.
Balram, this city is so opulent.
But I definitely like Vrindavan better.
Come, let's pick up our clothes from the washerman.
Dhobi Kaka, are the clothes ready?
Clothes? No. We have so many clothes of King Kamsa. Come tomorrow.
He always disrespects women.
Leela, Shama, look there.
Where?
There, Krishna and Balram. How can one person embody so much sweetness? Our eyes, like moths, are attracted to the fire of Krishna's striking good looks, and our hearts feel blissful.
We have heard about his pastimes in Raj, killing Putna and Agasur, lifting the Govardhan hill, saving the Gopas from the forest fire, and the Gopis from the flames of passion.
Upon seeing his beauty, even goddess Lakshmi would like to take his shelter. They are no match to the Vraja Gopis.
Bhagyavan, today our king will be very happy. We have dyed many fine silk to dress our king Kamsa for the upcoming wrestling competition.
I love this pink and this purple one. Next time make one for me also.
Not possible. These are pure silk clothes, only meant for the king. Oh stupid woman, let us go fast. We have to return to the king's palace with goods as early as possible. He must be waiting for us.
Thou, this washerman is the same unfortunate soul who had criticized me when I, as Ram, accepted Sita after she had lived in the house of the demon Ravan.
Dhobi, whatever you were speaking in the market, repeat it.
Maharaj.
Please do not fear. Speak clearly with confidence.
Annadatta, because of my wife, I have lost my respect in our Dhobi community.
Why? What happened?
She stayed 2 nights out of our house without my permission.
Devi, please ask for forgiveness from your husband.
I will never forgive her for the rest of my life.
Why will you not forgive her? Tell me the reason.
I have doubt over her purity. Not only I, but our entire Dhobi community has doubts on her loyalty and chastity.
Making allegations on a woman without any evidence is a grave crime.
My lord, I am not a king who will take back his wife. I am a mere washerman.
He is throwing mud on the dignity of our king.
My job is to wash the mud, not to throw the mud.
You are crossing your limits.
But I am telling the truth.
Punish him! Punish him! Please calm down. Everyone has a right to equality and freedom of speech in Ramarajya. Dhobi, go ahead.
You all can punish me, kill me, but tell me, who amongst you will accept the woman who has stayed at enemy's house? Please answer my question. See, no one is ready to even answer. Today there will be justice for both the king and the Ayodhyavasis.
But Sita Devi has given Agni Pariksha in Lanka. She is as pure as fire.
But we Ayodhyavasis have not witnessed that, no.
Do the people of Ayodhya not trust their queen Sita's character?
Tears in my brother's eyes? Who is responsible for this?
Lakshman, I have to sacrifice Sita.
Sacrifice Queen Sita Devi? But what is her crime?
Ayodhyavasis have doubts about Sita's character, as she spent 1 year in Ravana's house.
But brother, what right do they have over the king?
As much as the king has over the citizens, Lakshman. To resolve the doubts of the Ayodhyavasis, I will have to sacrifice Sita.
Although Lord Ramchandra had not punished the rascal then, Lord Krishna would punish him now. Krishna wanted to free the washerman from the cancer of blasphemy that had infected his heart. And so, the Lord at once decided to kill the rascal upon seeing him.
Oh, washerman, please give suitable garments to the 2 of us. We certainly deserve them. If you grant this charity, you will undoubtedly receive the greatest benefit.
You fool! How dare you even think of asking such a request? I will get you all arrested. Impudent cowherd boys! These are king's clothes. If you want to stay alive, leave Mathura at once, before I call on the king's soldiers to kill you all.
I am not scared of your King Kamsa.
I have heard all about your illicit dealings with the gopis. Do not think that this city is a lawless land like that of the Gopas.
Enough, O foolish washerman! You have been suffering from this cancer of blasphemy since your previous life. I did not punish you the last time, but your heart is still infected with this disease of criticism. Now, I will punish you and free you from this cancer of blasphemy permanently.
Swami! You rascal! How can you kill my husband? I will go to our king and report everything to him. King Kamsa always punishes wicked fellows like you.
As Krishna was happily sharing loving exchanges with Gopas, just then Mathura's most talented weaver appeared on the scene carrying ornaments and clothes.
Oh, my beloved Krishna and Balram, I am blessed to have your darshan today. Please accept my pranam.
Who are you?
My lord, I am a weaver and I make clothes for our king.
You look so blissful.
I have brought this most expensive silk clothes and ornaments. I have developed an intense attachment for you, my lord. Out of fear of Kamsa, I have not visited Vraj, but I have heard about you from other weavers who had been there. Now that you both are here in Mathura, please grant me the boon of dressing both of you, dear Krishna and Balram.
Thou, in his previous life, this weaver had been the best tailor of Mithila, and Maharaj Janak had engaged him in the service of Lord Ram.
मिथिला का कण कण खिला जमाई राजा राम मिला मिथिला का कण कण खिला जमाई राजा राम मिला जनक सती संग तुम रहियो ऐसे कनक कली पर भवराहो जैसे कनक कली पर भवराहो जैसे रामचंद्र चकोरी सिया जमाई राजा राम मिला मिथिला का कण कण खिला जमाई राजा राम मिला
Pranam Janak Maharaj.
Please come, my dear Ram. He is one of the best weavers of Mithila. O Vayakshresht, make clothes for Ram and Lakshman on the occasion of Ram's marriage with Sita. Make such unique designs that no one has ever seen or ever made.
Definitely, Maharaj. Maharaj, I have one request. I will certainly prepare the finest clothes for the sons of Dashrath. But may I please be allowed to personally dress them?
Well, that may not be possible. Our son-in-law is the Prince of Ayodhya, and my duty is to gift him the finest of dresses. I cannot fulfill your request.
I am fortunate to be blessed with this opportunity of serving my Lord by at least preparing clothes for him. I hope that fate would favor me someday. My prayer is that in the future, may I personally dress the Lord with the clothes I have made.
Be rest assured, your desire would be fulfilled at the end of Dwapar Yuga.
We are very pleased with your devotion.
We bless you to obtain the 6 opulences in this life and form like ours in the next.
Krishna, Balram, you both look effulgent.
Just see this miracle. As our Kanha is glancing at the weaver, his beauty is entering in the weaver's body, transforming him into such an effulgent person.
This transformation is unprecedented.
We have seen Krishna perform many miracles, but this is the most astonishing.
This is a living proof that absorption in Krishna can transform a devotee. According to one's devotion, Krishna reveals, offering the best we have for Krishna's pleasure and to fulfill Krishna's mission should be our goal of life.
Kaka, do you know where does my florist friend Sudama live? Have you seen him, Kaka? He's a garland maker here in Mathura.
Who is he, Kanha?
Sudama is my dear friend. On the plea of collecting flowers from Raja, he would find me wherever I was and give me the rarest of flowers.
Follow me. I will take you to Sudama's home, which is just nearby.
Who is this fortunate florist?
In his previous life, Sudama had been a gardener of Kuvera named Hema Mali, who worshipped Lord Shiva with 300 lotus flowers every day for 5,000 years, just so he could see me. One day, Lord Shiva appeared.
Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya.
My dear Hemamali, I am very pleased with you. Please ask for a boon.
O topmost Vaishnava, I have no material desire. Please grant me a boon that the Supreme Lord Krishna enters my home.
Hari, Hari, you are so different than my other worshippers who always want material opulence. So be it. Your desire will be fulfilled.
Hemamali then took birth at the end of Dwapar Yuga as a florist in Mathura. Thou, I need to fulfill Lord Shiva's promise. Sudama, Sudama.
Oh, my Lord Shri Krishna and Balram.
Sudama, I want that garland of very soft, fragrant flowers.
Yes, yes, my Lord. I will quickly offer the garland.
Ask for any benediction you desire.
My dear Lord, by your causeless mercy, I am blessed with everything. Still, in obedience to your order, if you really want to give me something, then please grant me the eternal nectar of devotion to your lotus feet, friendship with your devotees, and transcendental compassion for all living beings. My dear Lord, although you two are infallible, I request that you take special care now that you have entered evil Kamsa's domain.
Let us offer our obeisances to Sudama. Countless devotees have given up everything in search of the nectar of Krishna's lotus feet. But the Lord himself went in search of Sudama to request for a special flower garland from him. Krishna has no attraction to material flowers, maybe lotus or rose or a leaf. It is our devotion that attracts Krishna. Krishna is Atmaram. He fulfills the desires of all living entities since time immemorial. Even if you are in the body of a demonish Shurpanakha and have desire of loving him as a lover, he reciprocates. How charming! What amazing features! You are driving me insane with passion, O Ram! I am Shurpanakha, sister of mighty demon king of golden city Lanka, Ravan. But I must tell you that you excel over my all three brothers in bravery. I am madly in love with you. If you marry me, I assure you the greatest pleasures in this world, O Ram.
Devi, see, this is my good wife Sita. It would be highly distressing to cope up with constant confrontation with a co-wife. Instead, I have a better matrimonial proposal for you. My equally handsome and strong brother Lakshman. He is devoid of the pleasures of married life. You can pour over lava of your love on him and live a life like a queen without hindrance from any co-wife.
Your brother? What beauty! This one is no less, and without the hassle of a co-wife, definitely a better choice. Oh superhero, marry me. I will give you the best of joys in this world. Come and enter into my loving embrace.
Oh beauty queen, why do you want to become the wife of a servant? My advice is that you should become the second wife of my brother. Who knows, you might even become his favorite.
Ram, I know that you want to love me, but you are fearful of your wife. I will alleviate all your fears. I will kill this skinny lady and eat her up. And then both of us can enjoy.
Lakshman, we made a mistake in having fun with this wicked lady. Do the needful.
Although Shurpanakha sought revenge by inciting her brother Ravan, to kidnap Mother Sita, an act that led to the destruction of Lanka, she was still enamored with Ram and determined to become his wife. Shurpanakha retired to Pushkar Tirth and for 10,000 years patiently meditated on Lord Shiva and was blessed by him that at the end of Dwapar Yuga, her wish would come true. She would be reborn as Kubja in the city of Mathura.
Dao, do you remember her? Who, Kanha? Trivakra, Kubja. In her previous life, Kubja was the sister of Ravan, Shurpanakha, who saw Sita as her competitor and tried to kill her, and she was defaced by you. If I ask her for the sense, she will be purified of her desire to have me as her husband. Oh, beautiful lotus-eyed girl, who are you?
My name is Trivakra and I am the servant of King Kamsa.
Your name suits you. But tell me, these ointments you're so carefully carrying, for whom are they meant?
The ointment and the sandalwood paste are the property of my master.
Mathura must have many other beautiful women like you.
The king has many women, but he likes me for the cosmetics I provide.
My eyes are on those 2 flasks of perfume. Will you please give us some perfume?
Take as much as you like.
Aren't you taking risk of losing your life by giving away the king's property?
I don't care for Kamsa. I am fearless in your association.
Dear Trivakra, you have served me and my friends so well that you deserve a reward. May I please have the permission to straighten your body?
I happily accept your proposal, but how will you do it?
I know a special way to correct deformities like yours.
Then come to my house.
No. We have other business to attend to, so I cannot come to your house. But have faith in my words and let everyone present here witness the change I will bring about in you. Just see.
Oh, my deformities have completely vanished. Thank you, Krishna. Thank you. Oh, hero, please come to my home and allow me to serve you to my fullest satisfaction.
Do you want me to come to your house for dinner?
No. Not just dinner. Your touch ignited an inferno in my body. Now you have a duty to extinguish that fire. Don't blame me. The idea of being without you is intolerable.
Shh! Please don't speak like this. People standing around us will misunderstand what you're proposing, and their gossip will reach the ears of my mother and father in Vrindavan. My mission is not yet complete. When it is, I will surely visit your home. Indeed, you are the only caring woman I have met so far in Mathura. My dear friend, can you please show me the directions to the sacrificial arena?
Do not talk to him. If our King Kamsa would come to know, he would kill us.
But Baba, Krishna is my hero.
You are taking a big risk.
I am ready to take any risk for Krishna. Brother, come follow us. We will show you where the sacred bow of Lord Shiva rests. Krishna, witness this celestial bow. Shiva had used this same bow to destroy the Tripura demon cities and later gave to Parshuram, who in turn had given this extraordinary bow to Kamsa.
Please allow us to come closer and see the celestial bow for which this grand festival has been arranged.
Krishna, Jai, my superhero.
Nanda Baba, we are very hungry. In this city of Mathura, no one has offered us any food.
Nand Baba, do you know? Krishna has performed such heroic deeds in one day. He broke Lord Shiva's bow.
Not only that, but he also killed the evil washerman and transformed Kubja into a beautiful lady.
Kanha, you all must be tired. Lala, please eat this sweet rice prepared by your mother Yashoda. And after eating, please take some rest. Okay? Oh, my children, what have you foolishly done today? Why did you break the sacred bow? They were worshipping. I am afraid of what King Kamsa will do tomorrow. Alas, why? Why did I bring you two boys here from a coward village? Oh, I should have listened to your mother instead of Akrura, who though well-intentioned, did not think twice before putting you at risk.
Let us worship Shyamasundar, the darling son of Mother Yashoda, who although pursued by Kubja and the aristocratic ladies of Mathura by day, dreams only of a fair complexioned gopi of Vrindavan, Sri Radha. While Krishna and Balram rested peacefully, Kamsa laid awake, terrorized by inauspicious omens.
O King, two celestial youths dressed as cowards, one with a dark complexion and other fair. They have broken the invincible bow of Mahadev. I saw these feats with my own eyes. I came here to warn you that the enemy is near. These two cowards may appear harmless, but they are as unstoppable as fire.
You can go. Maybe that prophecy of my death will come true. No! No! I am the most powerful! Now you take your powerful elephant Kuvalyapid and incite him to trample Krishna beneath his massive feet.
Now, we have arrived at the wrestling arena. Kanha, Mama Kans has sent this special gift for us. This giant elephant. Now, this elephant Kuvalyapid, in his previous life, had been the son of Bali Maharaj, Mandagati, who was cursed by Trita Muni to become an elephant for his offense towards devotees. He had pushed his way through a crowd of pilgrims as if he were a wild elephant. Mandagati prayed for mercy, and Trita Muni assured him that the Supreme Lord himself would liberate him from the curse. Mandagati then took birth as Kuvalyapid. Jarasandh captured him, and later, when Kamsa married Jarasandh's two daughters, Kuvalyapid was given to Kamsa as a part of the dowry. Since Kuvalyapid has a connection with my great devotee Prahlad, his great-grandfather, I have to liberate his soul from this elephant body and reward him with a spiritual body to serve me.
Do you know that Krishna and Balram have been invited to Mathura?
Yes, but I heard that Kansa expects them to be killed by his expert wrestlers in the arena.
I have just come from the city gate. Krishna and Balram were there, and Kamsa had arranged a very fierce elephant to trample them to death. But instead, Krishna dispatched the elephant to Yamraj, just as a lion easily kills a deer. Look, Krishna and Balram are approaching the arena.
At last, to see them in person, they are even more beautiful than I expected.
Krishna and Balram, please, for your safety, turn back. Kamsa plans to have you killed in the arena. The arrangement isn't even fair. We will fight on your behalf.
Jai Krishna and Balram! Jai Krishna and Balram!
What is all that commotion over there?
Your nephews, Krishna and Balram, are entering the arena.
How did they get away from my fierce killer elephant?
I am most surprised how he killed the elephant.
Oh, this is terrible news.
Kamsa, I have arrived. You have been searching for me for the past 10 years, haven't you? I have accepted your invitation and have come. When tyranny reaches its peak, it invites its own end. You, Mama Shri, have invited me yourself. Your end.
I have been waiting to meet you. I would like to introduce you to the finest wrestlers in my land. I am the famous Mushtika, and here is the great and powerful Chanur.
Yeah. We will fight with you, Krishna and Balram, and kill you.
These boys appear to be like thunderbolts.
Yes, Krishna and Balram, we have heard about you too. You are great heroes and your arms are very strong, huh?
King Kamsa especially wants to see your great skills in wrestling.
We have heard that while tending the cows in the forest, you enjoy wrestling with your friends.
We feel very pleased that Kamsa wants us to wrestle with you. But usually, we wrestle with boys of our own age.
Do you think that the audience would like to witness an unequal match between huge wrestlers like you and young boys like us?
Ha! Krishna, we can understand that you are neither a child nor young. You have killed the giant elephant, Kualiapida. Because you are so strong, you must wrestle with the strongest. I, Chanura, will wrestle with you.
Yes, and I, Mushtik, will wrestle with you, Balram.
Jaya 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 Vijaya Vijaya He Krishna Vijaya Jaya 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 Dev Vijaya He Krishna Vijaya Jaya 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 Vijaya Vijaya He Krishna Vijaya Jaya 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 Dev Vijaya He Krishna Vijaya Mahananda Gopaluraga Pradeepa Namo Venu Gopala Veda Pradeepa Mahananda Gopaluraga Pradeepa Namo Venu Gopala Veda Pradeepa Aho Parshurama Danurбhima Rama Halodama Rama Kripa Krishna Soma Aho Darga Durmarga Durga Pranasha Prabhu Papa Vidvansa Punyavadansa
Stop this drumming! Stop this cheering! I order you to stop!
Satrudur Vedya Shatakoti Shakti Vispurita Krishna Krishna He Krishna 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 Jaya Krishna Sambramascharya Samdharita Hita चरिता कृष्ण कृष्ण हे कृष्ण 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 जय कृष्ण शत्रुदुर्भेद्य शतकोटि शक्ति विस्फुरित संभ्रमाश्चर्य संभरित हितचरिता महाकंसकारा गृहो भूत हे भूतनादा महाधर्म रक्षा प्रभूता विजय जय 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 दिग्विजय हे कृष्ण विजय जय 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 विजय विजय हे कृष्ण विजय जय 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 दिग्विजय हे कृष्ण विजय वसुदेवसुतं देवम्
Despite being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna humbly fulfills his role as their son, acknowledging their immense sacrifices and enduring hardships for his sake. Krishna's reciprocation goes beyond mere acts of kindness. It is an eternal bond of love where he honors their devotion by granting them their eternal roles in divine pastimes. Through this, Krishna illustrates how he cherishes and reciprocates the love of his devotees, fulfilling their innermost desires while uplifting their soul.